Okay, just touch on a couple of things here from this past week before we move on to Kansas State. Not happy with how we played on all three sides of the ball. Wasn't we didn't execute very good, didn't coach very good, didn't play with very much effort. What was disappointing, didn't think like any of us handled the situation as good as we could have. And one thing I tell the team all the time is we're all in this together, coaches and players. So anything I say in reference to a player, I'm making reference to coaching as well. So we just didn't handle the situation very well. You can spin it a lot of different ways if you want to. Bottom line is we didn't get the job done. We came back on Sunday, watched a whole lot of tape, wasn't a whole lot of positive things being said. And we need to change the mindset of our football team right now. I think we're a good football team. We haven't had to deal with this in a long time. It's been almost a year since we've had to deal with this, and we've won a lot of games in the meantime. So our job as coaches is to get back to what made us win in all those games, and that's working hard and playing with a tremendous amount of effort and being disciplined, being smart, playing hard, playing fast, and playing physical. So we got our hands full with that this week. We got Kansas State coming to town, who is a top 5 team, who's playing really well together on all three sides of the ball. Probably the most disciplined team I've seen in a long time on all three sides of the ball. They're extremely disciplined. They don't make mistakes. They don't make mistakes on any side of the ball. They play with tremendous effort. They play extremely physical football. They have a lot of experience. They're as smart of a football team as I've seen in quite some time as well. We pride ourselves on that as well. They're only getting penalized, I think, 3 times a game, and they're probably top 5 or 6 in the country when it comes to turnover margin. So, not turning the ball over and then creating turnovers on defense is something that they obviously stress. Offensively, it starts with their quarterback. Colin Klein's a tremendous football player. You watch him on tape and you go, we have to stop the run, because between him and their back, Hubert, they rush for 200 and some yards a game between the two of them. And we will. We'll work hard on trying to stop the run, and you want to make them pass. And you look at them back there throwing the ball, and it doesn't look very good, but it goes exactly where you want it to go. So they got big play potential outside. They got some receivers that can really run. And you spend so much time focusing on stopping the run that they have guys that make plays on the outside, and they do a great job on third downs. They stay out there, and it's going to be like it was against Maryland. They're going to huddle, they're going to sub, they're going to get their personnel groups in, they're going to go to the line of scrimmage, they're going to try to draw you off sides, they're going to make sure that they're in the right play, and then they're going to play ball. So we're going to have to do a good job of being patient and making sure that we take advantage of our opportunities. Kicking game, they're solid. They block well. They tackle well. They got 2 return guys in Thompson and Lockett that are as good as anybody in the country, both punt returns and kick returns. They're averaging a ton. Their kickers are nearly perfect, averaging 40 yards a kick and a punt, and almost perfect when it comes to field goals and extra points. And then defensively, just really solid on defense. Much of the same guys that they had last year. Great against the run. Arthur Brown's a special football player, number 4. As good as I've ever seen at linebacker from an effort standpoint, from a playmaking standpoint, from a physicality standpoint. Don't have many holes in their secondary. There's not going to be a whole lot of space to get the ball in there, so we got to do a good job of blocking up front and fitting the ball into some tight spaces. Don't miss any tackles, play with great effort. So just really a tremendous football team that's coming in, and we're going to have to improve on all three sides of the ball in order to compete. So we'll take some questions from there.
Hey, I realize that Kansas State is really good at moving the ball, moving the chains, scoring points in a kind of non-traditional Big 12 way, or a more traditional football. In a way, is this a better matchup for your defense that has been consistently burned by the teams that just don't have to beat?
Could be. Hope so. Hope so, and it could be. They pose a lot of challenges. Don't let they're only snapping the ball 63 times a game, but they're averaging 40-some points a game. So they have big play potential. They just do it in a different way as opposed to what we saw out of it. It's a little bit more like Texas than it was, which even Texas spreads it and moves and all that stuff, but different than Baylor and Texas Tech. I mean, they were obviously a tempo team that spread you out, that threw the ball all over the field, so that, yeah, this is a different challenge. And with any team, there's challenges, and this one just happens to be with their, stopping. It always comes down to stopping the run, and then when they are going to throw the ball, making plays downfield. We haven't done a very good job of making plays downfield. To a little bit of an understatement, I think. So we will continue to preach what we do. We know what we're going to face. Scheme's not ever going to be a problem. There's no secrets. You got film. You can tell what they're doing. You prepare your kids each and every week to line up against it and stop it, and then you get those guys out there and they got to make plays. And then as coaches, we got to make adjustments and then coach those guys into being able to make the plays.
Exactly what the challenges that are different than you've been facing does the spread option present to you? I mean, do you have to change a lot of things to get ready for it?
No. I mean, you got your keys, you got your responsibilities. You got to look at it, and you got to try to develop some tendencies that helps you be able to defend it. But regardless of what people are doing offensively, we're going to coach our guys as far as what their assignment is when it comes to matching up with the sets and being able to execute with good technique. We lost a whole lot of stuff technique-wise on both sides of the ball last week because our mindset was all screwed up. We lost sight of what's important, which is understanding exactly what your assignment is, what to do, and do it without hesitation when it comes to trusting your technique and triggering, and we didn't do a very good job of that.
How much of a concern is that it's week 6 and mindset is a question that guys aren't maybe mentally in that part?
Well, it's a problem, but for every football team that exists out there, it happens at some point. You got to fix it. I mean, it could happen in a bowl game. I'm talking about 18 to 22-year-old kids here. I mean, who knows what their mindset is? It's our job. It's our job as coaches. I take full responsibility for it. It's our job as coaches is to figure out if their mindset's not where we want it to be and fix it. Change it, fix it. We failed last week.
Danny, when you go scout team against your defense, you have a Colin Klein you put out there?
No, nobody has one.
Right.
There's only one of them that exists.
Yeah, I mean,
we wanted Will Johnson to do it because he's 6'5" and long. But he got a back problem last week, so he's not going to be able to do it. So we'll have a couple of guys that are back there that will go in the right direction and won't look like it. I mean, that's the problem. But that's the problem that exists, and we got to overcome that. I mean, if you can find a 6'5" guy that's big, strong, fast, he's probably not going to be on scout team.
Exactly. Yeah.
How tough is it to defend against Klein because he's so patient when he runs?
Tough. Averaging 100 yards a game doesn't make any mistakes, and so you try to junk up the box and stop the run and put more people in here, and then you're weak on the outside. And so then he throws it to those fast guys outside where we gotta make plays out there. So.
Talk about how you guys haven't had to come back from a loss since almost a year ago. How did the guys take it? How was the attitude yesterday and heading into this week?
It was embarrassing. I mean, the guys were embarrassed. They were hurt. They were disappointed. It's no fun. I mean, it's no fun for anybody, And so we got in here and I didn't sugarcoat anything. It wasn't a positive session. It wasn't it's okay, guys. It's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. I mean, that's not what we did. Our job's to coach them and tell them what reality is. I told them what reality is prior to going out there, and we didn't reach them. And again, that's my fault for not reaching them. I had a lot of guys that wanted it to be easy because we just went through 2 hard games against Baylor and Texas, and won. won close games and a couple of shootouts, and there had a whole bunch of people on that airplane going out there that wanted it to be easy. That's not reality in the Big 12. It's not reality in college football. We were honest with them, and there wasn't a whole lot of positive stuff being told or being said. With that said, the sense of urgency in meetings, the attention in meetings, the getting out there and practice and on Sunday night flying around and understanding that it's important to them. I was happy with the way that went. Hopefully here in about an hour when we get in here for a team meeting, the sense of urgency is high and the attention is high, and we'll get out there and play with tremendous effort and practice. If not, it's not going to be pretty.
Are you saying they were overconfident going into that game, or cocky, or just not prepared mentally to face it?
Well, if I had those answers, then I would have fixed it before.
Before, yeah.
I mean, it's a challenging game. I mean, I think we're all spoiled with as much as we won around here, and we don't like the loss, and we're not going to get used to it. I can assure you that. With that said, there's a whole bunch of people out there doing the same things that we are, and there's 9 other teams in the Big 12 that are all used to winning, and that all have really good facilities, and it's going to be challenging each and every week. My message to the team going last week was accept the grind, accept that, because it's reality. I mean, Texas Tech had been the bowl games 19 out of the last 20 years or whatever it is. I mean, it's a good program with good facilities and was a good football team. We watched them on tape and we said, look, these guys are pretty dang good. You better get ready to play. And we didn't have enough guys that bought into that. And that's 100% my fault and my responsibility to make sure that they get it, and they didn't.
Haven't been able to watch the film. What were they doing defensively that was so effective? What were they doing that slowed you guys down?
Just playing good sound defense, the same stuff that they did on tape. Scheme's not, you don't trick anybody. There's too many good coaches out there, there's too many good schemes out there, there's too much film, there's too much material. Nobody's tricking anybody. It gets right down to being prepared for the looks, which we were, and then having the proper mindset to get out there and be mentally tough enough to overcome adversity, which on that particular day we weren't.
And speaking of sound schemes, that's what to say. How does it happen that you wind up in a passing air raid offense, he winds up in a spread option offense, and both? I mean, they seem very different, yet they both get the same kind of results.
Well, I mean, do I think that there's schemes out there that are better than the others? Yeah, because that's what we're doing. But does that mean in reality that our scheme is better than somebody else's scheme? No, you gotta believe in something. You gotta commit to something. You gotta do it. The people that aren't successful is the people that try to, semi-commit to one scheme and semi-commit to another scheme and semi-commit to another scheme and kind of mold everything together. That doesn't typically work. But when you believe in something and you just stick to it and do it, you typically get pretty good at it. And then it's about getting players that fit it, and it's about getting players that understand it, and getting players that are in position to make plays, and they do. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into winning a football game other than just what the scheme is. To me, scheme has very little to do with it. It's about a whole lot of other things that go into that.
How close were you to getting Traveris Copeland in a game, or just necessitated by the situation with injuries and stuff?
He played.
No, I mean before.
Yeah, he'll start this week, so you guys can go ahead and write that one down. He's been getting better and better every week, and got him in the game because we didn't like what we were looking at. So we made the decision to play him, put him in. Almost made the decision to put Devontae Robinson in there. Probably wish I would have. One thing about motivation is I would think that motivation is indicative of playing time. If you like your current situation, you better do what you got to do to make sure that you keep that current situation, or that situation's going to change. So if anybody thinks that they're comfortable in their situation and not doing what they got to do to get extremely good at it, then they're sadly mistaken.
Speaking of that, any injury updates that you can give of guys that are either surely out?
Broderick Jenkins is out this week. He's got a slight cartilage tear. He'll be back. He's not a. He'll be back. He's out this week. The rest of them are pretty much day to day. We'll look at them and see what they're like up there today.
You said Copeland would be starting. Which position?
We'll find a spot.
Okay.
Does that group include?
Depends on how the receivers do. I mean, one of them's not going to start.
Okay.
I don't know. I say that, but I mean, if Travaris goes out there and doesn't play well this week, then we'll start somebody else. But we made the decision to play them. We put them in the games. We're obviously going to
Use it.
proceed and use him. I don't know if he's going to be the savior. It's not like our offense is that broke.
I was gonna say. I mean,
We've
do you
been-
need
we've
a
been
savior
okay
at this point?
year. Yeah. I mean, it's all about it's about competition. You know, I mean, Stedman goes down, doesn't play in the second half. Who steps up? Well, we tried some people, and that's the one we settled on. So based on that, then it'd be him. You know, hopefully Stedman's back.
Dana, what is it about him? He played a bunch of positions in high school, Travaris, and then it sounds like he could play inside or outside, so he's probably repped it both, and you're reasonably happy with that. That's pretty
Yeah.
quick and a lot for a freshman.
Just quick, hindsight, wish we would have forced the envelope on it a little bit earlier. Just in camp we tried. I mean, he didn't pick up on it. But the more he played, the more he was here, the better he's got. So we're gonna play him, you know. And if there's any other freshmen that step up this week, then we'll play them. Said it from the very beginning. I don't care who you are, you didn't play. I mean, I don't know what this puts our freshman total at, but it's a lot higher than it's probably ever been around here.
And what was the Stedman?
I don't think he had a twisted ankle.
Jeff Braun?
Twisted ankle.
And if Braun is able to go, who's your right back?
Either Edgar or who's the other guy?
Kinder.
Kindler. Yeah, either Edgar or Kindler.
Kevin.
And again, that will be indicative of how they practice this week. See how it goes today. All this injury stuff, I tell you, if people are out, I told you Broderick's out, the rest of them, we'll see how they do today and tomorrow.
Does that include Sean Olsen? And are you surprised
He's
that?
day to day. It's just, I mean.
Is that frustrating for you, for him to have a guy who's been day to day for
Yeah.
a month now?
It's pretty frustrating, but what do you do? I mean, we cry about it. We'll put the other running backs in and try to get them better. I mean, Dustin, we played him more last week than we had, and he looked a little bit better. So we'll keep playing him. I mean, I can't do anything about it. I can't put him on waivers and bring somebody else in here. We coach what we got, and that's how we've always approached it. And we're not going to use it as an excuse. We're going to line them up, and we're going to coach them. We're going to try to get their mindset right. And we're going to line up, and we're going to try to beat a top 5 team.
How's Dustin handled that increased role? It seems like every week he's done a little bit more. Feeling good?
Looks like he's handled it fine. He's not where he was last year, but he continues to get better.
Dana, speaking of freshmen, you put, I think, 3 in Will's spot, just kind of combination. What did you think of them, given the situation they walked into?
Yeah, don't know how to play hard yet. Don't know how to play. You know, they're trying. They're slowly coming along. They're not ready to be difference makers. They need to listen as far as what we're coaching them to do. They're all good kids, but you know, we're not interested in just putting good kids out there. We're interested in putting nasty guys that get after people's tail and make plays and be disruptive, and they didn't do that. We had, I think, 4 freshmen on the D-line that were there that got to continue to get better. We got to keep coaching them. They got to continue to get better. It's not a situation that's ideal, but what are we going to do about it?
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Good.